welcome and thank you so much for coming. This is a workshop rendition of what we're eventually going to be doing, the full version of this. So what you're seeing tonight is us building the play and the look and the aesthetic, and not as much the tech, which I was just telling Zach. Our pieces, when we work together, use a huge amount of technology, but for this one, we wanted to make sure the airplane could fly before we did that. This piece was inspired by a 1957 article that Truman Capote wrote In the Room with Brando, and it sort of departs halfway through, which you'll see, and becomes sort of our imagination inspired work. Yeah. I don't know, what else should I say?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's really amazing. This is an amazing space. If you know any artists that need space, this is the place to come. I'm telling everyone, it's 6,000 square foot. It's awesome. They'll give you anything you want. They have for us. We also want to thank our 5 actors. They're incredible. They've built this beautiful world.
This week.
Just this week. Gabriel Hernandez, Lee Guerra, Sean Donovan, Roger Casey, and Laura Nickel. Whenever I'm in front of people, I completely blank out on everybody's name, so I'm really sorry. I just hesitated. And Reed and I have been building this. I'm the playwright, Reed's the director. I think that's it, right?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we learned from yesterday is that I think you'll see these fans that are used.
Yeah.
These are they will be projection surfaces eventually for faces and things from the Brando world. So that'll help when you watch this. Mm-hmm. And anything else we learned from yesterday that we wanted to share?
That people were wondering about?
Yeah.
I don't know. We're here afterwards, so we love getting audience feedback. So anything that strikes you, or you hated, or really were offended by, we'd love to hear about. So, but thank you so much again. Yeah.
The green top of the beach. I thought it was very spring. Once unearthed it, I'll be feeling. Now she's gone, but I don't worry. No one sitting on top of the wind. You wanna check around in there? I see you study your face. Mississippi River, so big and wide. Long-headed woman on the other side. Now she's gone, but I don't worry. You know I'm sitting on top of the paradise full of stars. As your life will be seen through mine. The sun comes to power. The sun. We're gonna spring and fall. Long-haired woman just comes to now she's gone, but I don't worry. You know I'm sitting on top of the world. No need to run in, holding out your hand. You might want fully, but I'll be on hand. But if
You cannot talk a man! What's about it? That law has been broken!
My name is Miko Taka. I have been asked to tell you about a motion picture called Sayonara. Sayonara was photographed on actual location in Japan. The word sayonara means goodbye, and yet it means so much more, as you'll discover when you see this entirely different motion picture. With your permission, I would like to present a few scenes from Sayonara. Right. Don't think of anything now. Watch the prey. It's a tender story.
Oh, shit! You! What do you want from me?
Likes, dislikes, ideal date. The kids will love it and we'll call it a night, all right?
Oh, really?
Ooh. Well, actually, the New Yorker sent me to document this new movie you're working on. Not you, necessarily, but the New Yorker heard you're using real Japanese actors to play real Japanese people. They wanted me to see it with my own eyes. Anyway, I showed up on the set, and we had artistic differences, so I've been banned. It's a total bust.
Why are you still here?
Oh, damn, I forgot my notebook and pencil.
Why are you here?
Likes, dislikes, ideal date. Let's begin.
Hold on. And bring me up some ice, would you? And the soup and steak with fries. And broccoli with potatoes. And spaghetti with rolls and butter. And a bottle of sake. And a salad. And bring me up some cheese and crackers.
Miss, the only thing not on my diet would be the green top of the beet and okra. Ladies and gentlemen, excuse me, but I'm under a severe attack from a tooth.
The heat seem to be out there in the open. Shirts ready for the laundry. Socks, too. Shoes and hats and jackets and ties flung around like the costume of a dismantled scarecrow.
And what do you want?
Oh, nothing for me, thanks. Say, how old are you? 32? 33?
34?
Get out of here! I'm 34. What a coincidence, us being the same age and all. Where were you born?
Omaha, Nebraska.
You have any children?
Nope.
Are you married?
Nope.
What was your father like?
Father was a drunk, tough, whorefucker, bar fighter, super masculine, and he was tough.
Time had done little to separate the man from the hurt, desiring child.
And your mother?
My mother was very poetic, and also a drunk.
He worshipped his mother.
Look, that's about all you're gonna get out of me.
Well, you're
I
actually
don't do interviews.
contractually obligated to speak to me by Warner Brothers, but I understand. You want your privacy.
Mhm.
So let's just sit here and have a drink.
I don't drink.
Well, then let's just sit here. Nice room.
It's traditional.
Ostentatiously so.
He was a traveling salesman.
Get out of here! My father was a traveling salesman. Another coincidence.
Oh yeah, what did he sell?
Well, he sold just about anything there was to be sold. He made his living selling cruises down the Mississippi. He sold shorthand lessons, a prize fighter, popularity contests for high school girls, and the great Pasha, who was actually Sam Goldberg from the Bronx. Pasha would take this Egyptian pill that would slow down your heartbeat so you hardly need to breathe. Then he'd bury himself alive in an airtight coffin in front of an enormous crowd who would just stand there for hours. And that was a big hit for my old man. Until one time, he dug up Pasha, and he was dead.
Dead?
Still as the pharaohs. He wasn't so much a salesman as a two-bit grifter. Did you know that my father was in prison 62 times for writing bad checks? Hot paper! That's what he called it. One judge ordered he be forbidden to own a fountain pen. What did your father say?
Carbonation.
Like soda?
Like the air in soda.
Imagine a man shuffling from town to town selling air. What was your father like?
Look, that real Japanese actor thing is horse shit. Logan did cast the white guy's Japanese. Nakamura, the lead kabuki actor, he is played by Ricardo Montalban. And he's not even white, he's Mexican.
You gonna answer that?
Hello? Hong Kong? I don't know anybody there. I get these calls. A lot of times this girl's thinking I'm Kowalski, although I'm nothing like Kowalski. I once had a girl call me for an entire year just breathing into the phone. I finally got her to tell me why she was calling. She said she was planning to kidnap me and cannibalize me.
Tell me you called the police.
No, I gave her the address. She came over, turns out she just wanted to wash my feet like Christ.
Your appeal transcends sex to cannibalism.
I guess so. I was nearly trampled to death a few times once they cracked the windshield of my car. I personally don't get it.
Neither do I. Let's get back to the interview. Tell me about this movie you're working on.
Well, I've been doing this experiment where I've been trying to do everything wrong I can think of. Grimace, roll my eyes, do all kind of weird gestures and expressions that had nothing to do with the role, and they still call me a genius. I suppose you think I'm a genius.
Oh my God.
I asked if you think I'm a genius too.
I just remembered where I first met you. Do you remember?
I've never met you in my
It
life.
was 10 years ago. I was working for Harper's Magazine. They sent me to cover the first rehearsal of New York opening of yours. I remember. I walked into this big, musty attic, totally empty except for you, lying on a table in the middle of the stage, fast asleep with a big book open on your chest.
White t-shirt, denim trousers, squat gymnasium physique, the weightlifter's arms, the Charles Atlas chest. I took him for a stagehand.
Must have been a slow news day.
Oh, I did? Until I looked closely at his face. How very untapped.
You didn't answer my question.
Would you mind repeating it?
Do you think I'm a genius?
Oh my God. I just remember what you were reading. The works of Sigmund Freud. I tried desperately to read that too.
Couldn't get through it either.
There's something in there about how a man becomes successful only with his mother's love. Yeah, if your ambition is to work in a bank or something. But not you and me. My mother hated me. And I'm the most successful writer of my generation. Certainly the most photographed.
Your mother hated you?
Worse. She was indifferent toward me. I was an accident and a burden. When I was 2, she'd lock me in a hotel room in New Orleans while she fucked her way through town. She'd tell the hotel staff not to let me out, no matter how hard I cried, and honey, I cried, I screamed, till eventually I'd get so exhausted I'd just throw myself on the ground until she came back, completely smashed.
It was after one of those beatings that the parrot first appeared. Arrived while he slept. A bird taller than Jesus, yellow like a sunflower.
Did you hate her?
A warrior angel that blinded him with his beams, fed upon her eyes, slaughtered her while she pleaded for mercy, then gently lifted him, unfolded him, and winged him away to paradise.
I asked if you hated her.
Oh no, she tried. And what else can an intelligent woman do if she's bored in the 1930s?
Anyone ever tell you you talk like a little boy?
Has anyone ever told you that it's rude to remain clothed when the person you're with has discarded his last vein?
Lately have not slept a wink since this half-pint imitation put me on the blame.
Tell me about when the police called with your mother.
How do you know about that?
A good journalist knows everything already. I imagine you a little boy, 9 or 10, going door to door through Skid Row in Chicago after you'd moved from Omaha. It's a bright sunny day after school, and there you are, pushing open bar doors, peering into caves to try and see her.
Maybe just didn't know how to handle you.
How would you have done?
With a little more patience and kindness. That's what makes people mean difficult. People don't care enough about them.
What are you kidding me? Come on, I better get you home. There's too many guys around here with only one thing in their mind.
Cops carried her out nude and drove her home. That was the first event. Pop carried her through the living room where I was sitting with my sisters. I heard her fall and the sounds of slapping and hitting. I ran upstairs. She was on the ground. He was standing over her. I put my mouth 3 inches from his nose and bared my teeth. If you ever do that again, I'll kill you. That man was afraid of nothing. For once,
Well, we have 2 parents in common, a salesman and a drunk.
my mother wasn't a drunk.
My mother took her first sip of scotch at 3 in the afternoon, wouldn't swallow it down until after midnight. And then she'd get going on the fairy stuff. Welcome, everyone. My son's a faggot. Isn't it awful? He's gonna wind up on the street. He's gonna wind up
My
dead.
mother wasn't like that.
And then she'd start weeping. You don't know what it's like. Weeping to no one, because no one would listen. I'm a faggot, son. You don't know what it's like.
My mother wasn't like that.
You wanna know what the worst thing was? The worst thing was when she'd slip into my room and tear up my manuscripts. Because that was the one thing I had. That was the one thing she knew.
My
She
mother
could get
wasn't a drunk. She
drink,
wasn't.
act her fuck, and torment her son. That's all she was about. Did you know that I was tormented at home and at school? Mm-hmm. There were 3 boys in particular. A 3-headed monster, Cerberus of teenage averageness, whose sole purpose in this world was just to look at me and say, "Hey, look, Truman's a sissy." Buttoned up, boring, faceless nobodies. Just the kind of sons my mother would have wanted. I hope they're happy right now. In their back office or fix-it shop, covered in freckles. That's the one thing I always remembered about each and every one of those boys. They were all covered in freckles.
Did you hear what I said?
No. Can you repeat it?
I said my mother wasn't like that.
Well, then what was she like?
So you tell them, oh, I won't be looking at Miss Mercer. Did you find out, please?
a place like that. Never. My worst dreams that I'll picture. Only Mr. Edgar Allan Poe could do justice to it. What are you doing in that horrible place? Oh, what am I saying? I don't know that. I'm going to be nice about it and say, what a convenient location and such. Precious lady hasn't said a word to me.
She didn't drink because she was bored. She drank because the old man wouldn't let her act. He thought acting was worthless, a waste of time.
Is cold. I agree. He can laugh, but I love it. Although the laughs on me,
That's all she wanted to do,
I'll sing.
act. Locked in that house, she'd drift through its rooms, singing and running her fingers along the piano. Is how come I know so many songs? And she would drink, but she was not a drunk. Do you know what happens to an actress who doesn't act?
No.
What? They break up. They shatter like a piece of porcelain. It's different for me. I wish to God I didn't have to do this as a punishment.
A punishment for who? For you? Seems to me the perfect way to punish him and please her. And at the rate you're going, I imagine you middle-aged, 39, 40. Your life is your greatest gift to her. The greatest gift a son can give his mother, do what she never could.
Look, it's just a job, all right? I do this for the money. That's it. I'm not Kowalski. Hello? No. Look, I'm busy now. Let me call you when I get home.
Another woman thinking you're Kowalski.
No, lawyers. I'm going through a divorce. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Go on, ask your questions.
Explain to me what I saw on that first rehearsal 10 years ago.
It was rather an experience to observe with what a chameleon-like ease he slithered in Kowalski's character.
I'll tell you what you saw.
Like a guileful salamander, how superbly he found the road,
An unwanted child can mimic.
how his own persona evaporated.
Yeah.
They have to. Hey, Ma.
Oh, go on, but don't look at me. No. No, I won't be looked at with this merciless glare. Never in my worst dreams did I think. Only Poe. Only Mr. Edgar Allan Poe could do justice to it. What am I doing in this horrible place? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to be nice about it and say, oh, what a convenient location, and said, oh, precious lamb, you haven't said a word to me.
What are you gonna do now?
I'll start acting again. When I was acting, I was fine. You remember Shaw, Chekhov, Shakespeare? I was really something. Do you know what happens to an actress who doesn't act? They break up. Oh, go on, get out of here. Don't look at me.
I'm gonna kill him right now. I'm gonna go downstairs and stab him through the heart with a kitchen knife.
No, don't do that.
Why shouldn't I?
He just doesn't know how to handle me.
How would you do it?
With a little more patience and kindness. Oh, it's what makes people mean and difficult. People don't care enough about them.
You kidding me? Come on, let's... Shit. Oh, I know I remember this. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You were an unwanted child.
What? No, I never said that. My mother loved me very much. What?
Are you acting right now?
No, I'm not an actor. And I'm not successful.
You appear so to me.
It's just a loan. Someday, somehow, I know I'm going to have to pay it all back.
And what form will the debt collector take?
I have no idea.
Let's get back to the interview. being that kind of a guy, but not your father per se.
Exactly.
Do you think your father could have killed your mother?
Never. He never could have done it.
I almost envy you. I hardly ever saw my father. Once, I remember, must have been 11. He showed up in a brand new shiny car in Alabama where I'd been abandoned with my aunts. Must have been after a particularly lucrative career.
I thought this was a puff piece.
Truman, my boy, he says. Grab some friends, we're going to the shore. Oh, I was so excited. You know, I went around door to door. I gathered every friend I could find, and we all piled in. And on our way out, my Aunt Sue, she pulled me aside. She said, "Yeah, honey, here's $2. Get yourself some books in town." You know, because that's all I ever really wanted was some new books.
Where's that girl, my fool?
We were not 5 minutes outside Monroeville when the police pulled us over. Apparently they were waiting for my father. He had about $16,000 worth of debt. "Truman, my boy," she says, as the police are hauling him away. "I'm gonna need that $2, honey."
Your old man may be a cheap thief and liar, maybe, but he was not the Kowalski type at all.
Now that's how I'm gonna clear the table. Don't you ever talk that way to me. Pig, Polak, vulgar, disgusting, greasy. Those kind of words have been on your tongue and your sister's tongue. There's too much around here.
Shit, I don't know what's wrong with me. I know I remember this.
Let's get back to the interview. You don't memorize your lines?
Not really.
Why not?
Explain to me how I'm supposed to give a spontaneous performance when I know what I'm going to say ahead of time.
Sort of paints you into a corner, doesn't it?
Look, I'm going to talk to you about acting, all right? You don't ask a lumberjack about wood or a clammer about clams all day, do
I think
you?
you're a little different than a lumberjack or a clammer.
Yeah, I am. What they do is worth something. What I do is completely worthless.
Oh, so acting is worthless.
Are you listening? I'm not an actor.
I don't suppose you'd say that to Bernhardt or Barrymore, Gielgud, Olivier. You played Mark Antony. You weren't acting there.
I mimicked it. That whole movie. I could never do Shakespeare. Never. My mother used to try to teach it to me. I remember. That's what we were doing before she went out that night.
All right, little boy. Shakespeare comes from the earth. So root your feet into the earth and give the speech to the horizon.
I can't do that.
Of course you can. How can you call yourself an actor if you can't do Shakespeare?
I never call myself an actor. You're the actor, not me. Can you just do it and I'll copy you?
Like this. Domestic fury and fierce civil strife shall cumber all the parts of Italy. Blood and destruction shall be so in use, and dreadful objects so familiar, that mothers shall but smile when they behold their infants quartered with the hands of war. All pity choked with the custom of fell deed. And Caesar's spirit, ranging for revenge, with Acte by his side, come hot from hell, shall in these confines, with a monarch's voice, cry havoc! And let slip the dogs of war.
And that's how I'm going to clear the tape. Don't you talk that way with him? What do you think you are, Garbo or something? You two have been spending far too much time together around here. Isn't there something better an intelligent woman can do if she's bored?
Where were you?
What are you going to do now?
I'll start acting again. When I was acting, I was fine. You remember.
Sure,
Shaw, Chekhov, Shakespeare. That was really something. Do you know what happens to an actress who doesn't act? They break up. Don't look at me. Go on, get out of here.
I'm going to kill him right now.
No. Don't do that.
Why shouldn't I?
He just doesn't know how to handle me.
Well, how would you do it?
patience and kindness. Listen, it's what makes people mean and difficult. People don't care enough about them.
Hello? No. Look, I can't talk now. I'm busy. Let me call you later.
Another girl thinking you're Kowalski?
No, lawyers. I'm supposed to be writing this movie for Paramount.
Writing a movie? What is this movie you're avoiding all about?
I'm not avoiding it. It's a very important story about a man with a troubled childhood.
Uh-huh.
Who becomes a great humanitarian? He travels to Africa and India, and he saves a lot of people, but he has a family of his own and ends up ignoring them.
And what happens to this family?
Well, I don't know yet. That's all I've got.
So you'd like to be a great humanitarian yourself?
Oh, yes, but there's this ambivalence to me. There's never any truth to any of it. There's a billion little moments that lead up to something. And I don't believe in anything, certainly nothing I'd die for.
There's no shame in not being a revolutionary.
Oh, yes, there is. I'm also terrified of pain, of being shot. I can't imagine being shot. And then dying, of being just nothing. That's what I fear the most as I'm talking to you now. Being nothing, don't you?
No. It's the moment right before you become nothing. That's worse. Take, for example, the night my mother took her most heroic dose of second-halls. I was doing so well. I was at the top of my game. I was about to finish the greatest book this country has ever seen. And then the phone call. She'd rather die than see me happy. I remember when we arrived that morning at the apartment, the phone was off the hook. Like she'd been trying to call for help. But you want to know what was worse? The windows were wide open. It was December, freezing. I think she was trying to stave off oblivion with cold air or something. She was the worst person in my life, but still, that picture ruins me. I just see her going room to room in a slumberous panic, opening windows. Being nothing is nothing. But opening windows when a tsunami is coming, well, that is much worse. Once a thing is set to happen, all you can do is hope it won't. For as long as you live, there's always something waiting. And even if it's bad, and you know it's bad, what can you do?
I guess so.
Take heed, watch, and pray, for ye not know when the time is. Anyway, that's that, in case you were wondering why I talk like a little boy. Let's get back to the interview. I imagine you 42, 43, body thicker, forehead higher, hair thinner. You have a family now, a son, perhaps. How do you imagine yourself as a father?
You'll travel far, my little girl. We will never leave you, even in the face of our death. The richness of our lives is to be yours.
Shit, I know I remember this. What did you ask me?
I asked you how you imagine yourself as a father.
I never lay a hand on him.
I had this dream since I was a little kid.
I never yell at him.
I'm walking along this freezing cold beach, way up north.
Never ignore him.
On one side of the beach is endless, thick forest.
What?
Are you acting right now?
No, I'm not an actor.
I imagine your son, a boy, 9 or 10 years old. Exotic, but unmistakably yours, sneaking into the studio gates. It's a bright, sunny day after school, and there he is, lingering in the shadows of the movie set. Peering into these caves, watching you work, idealizing his famous father.
On the other side is the ocean, black and noisy, with these choppy little waves rolling sharp pebbles around.
Maybe he'd like to, but I'd never let him set foot on a movie set.
And way out in the ocean, I see this flat rock. Beautiful. The sun shining on it.
Why not?
I don't want him to be like me.
And
No one
suddenly,
ever looked out for me, cared for me. No one ever taught me anything. I'd do it right with him.
suddenly I know I have to get out there to that rock.
How could you teach him when you don't know?
Alright, kid, here's what happened. So my old man gets home drunk and starts to rough up my mother, your grandma. Well, I never laid a hand on him, see? Didn't have to. I just walked right up to him and said, if you ever do that again, I'll kill you. Simple as that. He walked right out like a little guy.
How could you be a father if you never saw one?
Oh, come on, Father, my little girl. We will never leave you, even in the face of our death. The richness of our lives shall be yours.
Oh, sorry. I have to do that again. Can I start over? Alright, kid, here's what happened. So my old man gets home and he's drunker in hell and starts to rough up my ma, your grandma. So I socked him once right in the nose, split the fucker in two. You should have seen the blood pouring down his face. He tries to take a swing at me, of course, but I just laughed and laughed.
So I step into the water, onto the sharp little stones, and suddenly the ocean is up in my neck. I have no idea what's beneath me or how far it goes, and I know that any minute something bad could swim up, pull me under, rip me apart. I know all this beforehand, see, but I figured, well, I'll take my chances.
How could you teach him right from wrong if you never knew it yourself?
All that I have, all that I've done, everything I feel, all this and more I bequeath you, my son.
Shit. God damn it. I have to start over. Let me start over.
What it comes down to is, I want to get to that rock more than I'm afraid of what's down there. Most times I don't get to the rock. I wake up or just forget. But sometimes I make it. I grab hold of that warm rock and scrape my feet along the slippery bottom to push myself up onto it. And when I look up, my dad is there, just sitting there. At first I'm terrified. I'm not sure why. But then, and here's my favorite part, he has Legos, just like a big box of them. And we sit there on that rock and build cool stuff, and, well, that's about it. Pop.
Alright, here's what happened. So my old man comes home, he's stinking drunk and starts to rough up my mother, your grandma.
Pop, can I sleep in your room?
So I grabbed his gun from the closet.
Pop, please.
And I walked up to him and pointed that gun at his eye. I said, if you ever do that again, I'll kill you.
You never could have done it.
Excuse me?
I said you never could have done it, Pop.
Don't you talk to me that way, you little shit.
I'm sorry.
Spoiled little... I could have done it. I should have. He never cared for me a day in his life. He never looked out for me. He never helped me, unlike you.
Doc, I said,
Born into this.
just for tonight.
You spoiled little.
It was after one of those beatings that the parrot appeared. Arrived while I slept. A bird taller than Jesus. Yellow like a sunflower.
You will carry me inside you all the days of your life. You will make my strength your own, and you will see my life through your eyes as I will see yours through mine. The Son shall become the Father, and the Father the Son.
A warrior angel who blinded him with his beaks, fed upon his eyes, slaughtered him while he pleaded for mercy, and then so gently lifted me, unfolded me, winged me away to paradise.
This is all I can send you, Khalil.
Did you love him?
Oh, yes. When he was first born and I looked at him, I got tears in my eyes. It's like involuntary tears, you know? And then after that, every time I looked at him, I got tears in my eyes, so I didn't look at him. I don't really. Never did.
You don't look at your own son?
What? Of course I look at my son. What kind of question is that? You know what?
What?
This is cheap. You sitting there trying to tease an interview out of me. That's how you figure someone out.
Well, and how do you figure someone out?
Just look. I used to ride the subway up and down Manhattan just watching people's thoughts come through their faces. The way he pulled out a cigarette. Why she pushed her hair back. Crossed her legs, sighed and furrowed her brow. Oh, I can read a person instantly from that. I can tell exactly how you are from the way you sat in that chair when you first walked in here.
How did I sit in this chair?
Like you own the place, but you don't. You really want to figure me out, you just look at me.
Do you mind?
Yes, I do. Would you please leave?
Oh, just for a minute. Can't I just look at you for one
Fine, 1 minute. What do you want, really?
Ooh, I'm the debt collector.
What?
Oh, don't be so paranoid, honey. Besides, you're contractually obligated to talk to me, remember? And you need not worry, I haven't been writing any of this down. So sit still. I still have 30 more seconds.
Each anger induces a different impression.
Oh, it's that fucking room service!
It is a changeling's face.
Say, what's that thing in the Bible about the sins of the father?
I have no idea.
Oh, no, it's the iniquities of the father, that's it.
What do you want?
God will visit the iniquities of the father on the third and fourth generation.
No fucking way. You're here till you're 21, judge's orders.
You don't want me here. You know you don't want me.
I know I don't want you over there more.
So your father's iniquities will visit your children. I got a job at a gas station.
That sounds about right.
Oh, no, wait. I'm saving money so I can move up north. 1, 2, 3.
Good luck. Till then, stay the fuck out of my
I
sight.
know what it is. Your father's iniquities will visit your children, that's it. My mother should have run when she saw you. Every woman should run. I should have never been born. You're an animal. You're worse than What was your father's father like?
I have no idea. His father abandoned him when he was 3. His mother did too.
Hey,
What?
are you acting right now?
I think I'm done having you look at me now.
I thank you for the privilege. Let's get back to the interview. Who'll you be at 53, 54?
David Assassin.
Will you grow distinguished and wise, or melt under the Klieg light of fame? The latter, I suspect.
Nevertheless, the subtle, tender character of his face had been preserved.
You have many more children now. A daughter now, perhaps. I imagine your daughter, age 9 or 10, supernaturally beautiful, but forever entombed on your desert island. You purchased your very own island at the far end of the world. Maids raised her. Your staff, locals, cabana boys, anybody but you, really, which is smart, I think. For screwing up a little boy is one thing, but screwing up a little girl is quite another.
Okay. Here's what's gonna happen. From now on, we're not gonna talk about my son, or my daughter, or my parents, or their parents, or acting, or any of that. And if you try to bring it up again, I'm walking right out.
Okay.
From now on, this interview will only address my political activism work with the American Indian
All right.
and the civil rights movement. From now on, I refuse to discuss anything other than my message in this interview.
But what is your message? I thought you don't believe in anything.
Oh, I never said that! I believe in a lot of things! I would die for the rights of the American Indians. I almost did. Do you know how many times I've been shot at defending the American Indian? I marched with Martin Luther King. The first play I did when I got to New York was about the Holocaust. There was one speech where I turned to the audience. Where were you? Huh? Where were you? Where were you when 6 million Jews were burned to death in the ovens of Auschwitz? Where were you? I made people cry with that. I made people angry. And people threw themselves wailing in the aisles. One woman one night got up in the middle of that speech and shouted back.
Where are you?
What?
Dad!
Yes.
Where were you?
This is all I know. Oh, I can send you, Jonah. I have to start over. Thank fucking God.
Once the thing is set to happen, all you can do is hope it won't.
As long as you live, there's always something waiting. And even if it's bad and you know it's bad, what can you do?
Get a hold of yourself.
I need a drink, please.
Where does he stop and you start?
Where does a tree stop and a branch start?
Oh my God, you're pathetic. Do you know that? I mean, don't you realize how much time you've wasted? Don't you realize it's okay to hate him?
Do you hate him?
Of course I do. I've never felt freer in my life. What the hell?
I wish he'd look at me every once in a while. That's all.
Don't worry. Once you hate him, he'll look.
Where were you?
What?
That's your message. I like it. It's quick and mean. Points to the hypocrites in the room. Those who weep for the world under their silken sheets. But tell me, how do you eat so much and stay so thin?
Oh, you haven't seen me naked. I can't control myself. I have a real problem.
So do I. And dieting is such a chore.
You don't understand. I can't control myself.
Have you tried hypnosis?
Anything short of putting myself into a medically induced coma, I have tried it.
The doctor will do that.
No, I've asked.
Now make an observation.
If it's about the American Indian.
Now, this is just an observation.
Or the civil rights
But
movement.
I've noticed
Or my work with UNICEF.
that people who can't fix their family tend to try to fix the rest of the world.
Real prick, you know that?
What about your sex life? Can we talk about that?
Definitely not.
For me, it's changed strangely. I can't understand it. For decades, I always left at the most poised, elegant, talented men in the room. Dancers, scholars, people like that. And it wasn't just for sex. I've never been particularly over sex. Actually, sometimes I'd rather just talk to a man. But lately, I have been feverishly drawn to the absolutely average.
There was this famine in India.
It's embarrassing. I am hungry for nobodies. First, there was Danny, the air conditioner repairman. He was married, had 2 kids, profoundly unremarkable. A man without a face, dumb as a box of hair. But I woke his sleeping ego, and I relieved him of his heterosexuality, which I think he was quite grateful for.
I went there with UNICEF to film The Dying.
And after Danny, there was Rick, the bartender at Club 45. Also straight, aspiring actor. I loved him. And after Danny, of course, John O'Shea.
Mothers held their starving babies up to the camera. Like an offering. Like the camera could save them. I would have given anything to save those
He
children.
was even dumber, even blander. John was then vice president, married, 4 or 5 kids, coached track at a local high school, religious as hell. I met him at the bathhouse near the Plaza Hotel. God, he consumed me. Why? Why do I do this? Who are these men?
Any chance any of them in freckles?
All right. I've had enough.
Oh, what? No, don't go. I'm sorry.
Most of this is unusable anyway.
No, don't stay. Have another drink. I'm sorry. Look at this unopened bottle.
Well, it is a nice word.
The other ones are more American.
Interesting. My mother hugs me and kisses me, and she says, "Be good," right before she drops me off to school. We have a picnic in the park, and she laughs at all my jokes, and she reads all my stories. She says I'm brilliant. She says I'm brilliant when I don't do anything at all.
Your mother did all that?
No. No. Not even close. Nostalgia is a treacherous business, especially when you're inventing it. So, I take my pink and my yellow and my blue pills, just leave it off. An Easter basket to carry me away. It's a simpler suicide than yours. Eating yourself to death. It's ridiculous.
Suicide? No, I wouldn't do that. Why would I do
I
that?
don't know, you tell me.
I just really like ice cream. Don't you?
As a treat. Let's get back to the interview. Who will you be at 60? 61? You're very brave having all those children. How many is it? 11? 9? Oh no, that's right. I forgot the adopted ones, so 12. Keep a close eye on them. There are Mr. Frys everywhere. Mr. Fry, my English teacher in middle school, he used to walk me home some days after school. We'd stop at the Olympia. It was an old movie theater right near Broadway. I don't think it's there anymore. We would sit in the back, and I'd masturbate. Oh, I must have seen the charge of the Light Brigade 100 times that year. What?
How can you do